Welcome to this week's edition of Retire Simply DFW, the show that helps you navigate the complexities of your retirement. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and I'm joined today by the co-founders of Compass Retirement, Scott and Angela Winstead. The Winsteads, one of my favorite couples. It's so good to be back with you.
Thank you, Kristen.
So happy to be here.
We love it. We love being here and chatting with you.
Well, I know that you are just so busy, not just with work and serving clients and serving the greater DFW community, but I'm curious a little bit more about the home life of the Winstead. So tell our viewers a little bit about what home life is like and all of that, navigating that and working together,
well,
right?
how much time do we have?
Exactly.
Right? No, we have a great family. So we're very, very blessed. We spend a lot of time, obviously helping and serving folks and planning their retirement, but we spend a lot of time pouring into our 4 kids. 3 boys and a girl, so the youngest is a girl. And what's really neat is always seeing the different stages that they're in, right? And you know, who's graduating college and who's a entrepreneur that kind of, you know, I think the apple didn't fall too far from the tree, right? Around that, we've got a son that is in high school and plays football in Texas. So you know those Friday night lights.
Yes, it's a real thing.
That's right.
Absolutely
And then we've got our daughter who's 11, and you know, just loves to play soccer.
Takes after her dad.
Takes after me a little bit. She's better than I was at that age for sure. She's got a lot of talent, but you know, they're all doing really, really well. And one of the things Angela and I always look at is making sure, hey, we're supporting them in what they do, but you know what? You're going to work hard. You're going to have a great attitude. You're going to show up. You're going to follow through. If you start something, we're going to finish it. So we try to really instill those core values, and they're just turning into awesome people, really awesome people.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know, Kristen, we spend tons of time together. So it is fun. It's fun to run the family. It's fun to run the business, to be able to help people, you know. We just enjoy being together and helping. So
that's awesome. What a beautiful thing. Well,
Yeah.
I'm excited to be back with you today. And one of the things that makes Compass Retirement so special is their commitment to really helping explain things in a way that is simple to understand. There are so many complexities that come into retirement and retirement planning, but they are retirement planning specialists, and they help you navigate through those complexities. And this acronym, Simply, that you have come up with, this is a trademarked process that you walked folks through. And the S in Simply stands for Shelter Your Money in Retirement, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So take it away. What do folks need to understand about this concept of sheltering their money in retirement?
yeah, so when you're transitioning from working and saving to retiring, and then believe it or not, even if you don't want to, typically you're spending, right? So that's a completely different thing. When we're spending money, we have to address our money differently. So when we're talking about market risk, what we make sure when we're sheltering money is we've got a portion of money that cannot go down, no matter what, unless you take the money out and use it.
Right.
To us, that is how it's really supremely sheltered. Because stock market risk is really what we're talking about here. The market's going to continue to go up and down throughout your whole retirement.
That's a guarantee. Right?
Absolutely. You can count on that. You can count on that. We don't know if it's going to be a red year or a green year, and this is what I mean. So when the market goes down, we call it a red year. When the market goes up, we call it a green year. You're going to probably have lots of red years in a row and lots of green years in a row. So when we're dealing with that market risk and our money going up and our money going down, we have to make sure that we've got a pot of money that we can go to in the leaner years when the market's down. We can go to that pot of money that's not attached to the market.
Right.
So that we're not having to sell low and lose a lot of our money, lock in those losses. That's how we talk about that. We go to the pot of money that can't lose and use that for some of our spending.
Well, and I love what you're talking about. It's a portion of money, because as we've talked about on the show before, with inflation and everything else that we're facing right now, there's some element of risk that folks still need to take in retirement, right? Just to keep up with the pace of inflation?
100%. So by no means are we suggesting that everything should be safe and not have any risk. You have to have risk because over time, here's what we have found. If you just look back over the history of the stock market, right? Over time, it averages about 9 to 11%. But the roller coaster ride year to year feels a lot different. But if you just average it out, it actually outpaces inflation. So we have to have a portion of our money there. The thing we want to make sure is, regardless, as Angela mentioned, if it's that green year or that red year, that bucket of money doesn't put your retirement on hold. Like, we never want you sitting around the kitchen table saying, hey, honey, I really wish we could take that cruise this year. I really wish we could go on that RV trip. I really wish we could do that, river, trip. But man, last year the market just didn't perform and I don't want to sell or take any money out. That is no way to go through retirement. So when you've got a plan that's balanced, and portion of your money sheltered and a portion of your money is there for long-term growth, now you've got the ultimate flexibility to, again, be able to take from freely and not be at the whim of what the stock market and the unpredictability of what the stock market's doing. We call it the world's largest casino, right? You're not at the whim of what that decides to do that's dictating your life and your retirement, and that is so important.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and how do folks, I mean, I know when you meet with people, you have to kind of assess how comfortable they are with different levels of risk. What kind of questions are you asking? How do you kind of help folks decide how comfortable they are with the roller coaster and how much money should be in which bucket, so to speak?
Such a good question. You know, one of the main ways we do that is we don't ever show people, hey, here's what you could potentially make. We like to show you, hey, set up this way, here's what you could potentially lose. Are you okay with that? Because if you're okay with that, there's that old saying that says, if you take care of the downside, the upside will take care of itself, right? So again, we want to make sure that we're always taking care of that downside, and that's different for everyone. Now, there's rules of thumb, right? Like, hey, if you're this age, maybe you should have this much be risky and this much not. But really what it comes down to is, what can you stomach? How do you sleep at night? Right? Because retirement planning at the end of the day is to answer the questions and the fears and address the concerns that someone has, put a plan in place so that they can rest and feel comfortable and navigate retirement. And when they are doing that, now they're fully present, right? Now they are enjoying that trip. Now they're enjoying Christmas, New Year's Day with their family, and they're not worried that, man, I hope this thing really works out, having that nagging, lingering question in the back of their mind.
Yeah, so this is what I would say. If you are looking for a little bit of balance and flexibility in your retirement and understanding that that gives you choice, we want to help you with that. We want to help break this down, put together a RetireSimply plan for you. So if you are 3 to 5 years away from retiring, maybe you're already retired and you want a little bit of help, we can do that. As long as you've saved $300,000 or more, this is the perfect kind of planning for you. I'm going to invite you to pick up that phone, take that step for yourself, give us a call, and we are waiting to serve you.
Angela, Scott, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, we are going to take a quick commercial break, but we encourage you to pick up the phone, make this important phone call so that you can get your own complimentary RetireSimply plan from Scott, Angela, and the entire team at Compass Retirement. No cost, no charge, no obligation. It's simply an invitation to have a conversation to see how they can help and serve you. Call the number on the bottom of your screen, 844-861-5203, or you're also welcome to take out your smartphone. Simply scan that QR code in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. It'll ask you a few simple questions, and then a member of the Compass Retirement team will reach out to you to schedule your time to come in for your complimentary RetireSimply plan. We have so much more to cover regarding market risk and how you can protect yourself from losing money in the stock market in your retirement right after this.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there or be square. Happy birthday to you. You can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Retire Simply DFW. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, here with the co-founders of Compass Retirement, Scott and Angela Winstead, and we are having a lively discussion about all things market risk today, how it affects folks' retirement. I know that one of the things that you do is you meet with a lot of folks who might already be working with another financial advisor, but they want to come in and get a second opinion. And a lot of folks are trying to figure out this important question we're addressing today of, am I taking too much risk with my retirement money? Am I not taking enough risk? So what are some of the common mistakes that you see folks unknowingly make when they come in and meet with you for the first time, and specifically around how they are currently navigating market risk?
Well, I think one of the biggest mistakes we see folks make is looking at things in what we would call a silo. So, and here's what I mean. You know, when you're working and you're, let's say, contributing or putting money into that 401k or that 403b or your IRA, and you decide to tweak the portfolio, right? I'm going to put 10% more here, 5% more there. When you're making these changes while you're working, it's really only affecting that one account, right? You're changing the risk profile, or you're changing the high and low potential in just that account. What happens in retirement is when you retire, all your accounts become connected. And what I mean by that is a lot of these accounts have what we call forced distributions, which means you've got to start taking money out of them whether you really want to or you don't.
Right, those RMDs, right?
That's right, and I know we've talked about that on other episodes.
Yes.
And so the thing is, whether you're taking money out of an account by I would say, choice or by force, right?
Right.
The ups and the downs you experience in there can significantly impact your bottom line. And so there's not a great way, if you're not looking at things holistically, to really strategize for just that one account. So our approach with RetireSimply is taking a very big look, kind of that 30,000-foot view of, okay, this is how you're set up in this one account, but what could it potentially do and impact in your overall retirement plan? And that's really, really important. And what we have found is a lot of times, folks are working with someone that manages their investments, right?
Yep.
But they're not necessarily focused strictly on retirement planning. So the average age of folks that we typically work with are somewhere in there, I would say, early 60s to early 70s, okay? And retirement planning is all we do. We typically don't work with anyone younger than those ages unless it's the children of our clients, right?
Right.
And so we spend all day long planning retirement. And the skill set to have to do that versus let me just try to grow this money over here is very, very different. And it doesn't mean that whoever helped you save and grew your money, probably did an awesome job. But you know, it's kind of like the old Mount Everest, right? You know, most people die on Mount Everest coming down the mountain, not going up it, right? And so what we want to do is help you and be very skilled, kind of that Sherpa, if you will, to guide you along, so as those pitfalls happen, one of them being market risk, you're just not in a position where you're going to be impacted by that in a very significant way.
Yeah, and if you don't climb mountains regularly, right, you don't know what you're doing. And I often say to people, you know, most people who come in and visit with us have been working with an investment advisor that has done a fantastic job for them. And the market's been up for a long time, so they should have been, right? But it's kind of like when you go to the doctor, you'll have your general practitioner that you've seen for years and years and years, and you're so comfortable with them. But then maybe we get something like cancer. And it's great to go and talk to them and realize, hey, you know, I think I've got cancer, but when I have cancer, I'm going to be working with a different doctor.
With
and
a
I'm not I'm not saying retirement is cancer, but what I am saying is it is a completely different stage of life.
Absolutely.
And so when Scott's sharing that we're looking at everything holistically, that's very much for a reason. Like he said, everything connects, and most most people, especially if they've kind of been planning their retirement on their own for a while, they don't understand how everything connects. Or if they do know that things connect, they're typically missing a few pieces.
Right.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that. I think it was very well said. I think one of the main things is, retirement's one of those few things in life that if you do it correctly, you only really do it once.
Right, you get one shot
That's
at it,
right.
right?
And when I think back over the course of my life and I tried things for the first time, typically it didn't go well, right? I don't remember when I first learned to walk, but I'm sure I fell. I could tell you about my first kiss in 6th grade. Did not go well.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so my point is, why take the chance to plan your own retirement when you've never done it before and you might only get one shot at it? The stakes are too high. So finding someone, whether that's Compass Retirement or someone else that is skilled, knowledgeable, and focuses specifically on the stage of life you're in, we think is of the utmost importance.
Well, and what you're speaking to is just how the industry is set up. I've heard it said Wall Street is broken. I mean, Wall Street's good at what Wall Street does, but it's only focused, these big box firms, all they can do is help folks accumulate and grow those account balances. It's not that comprehensive, holistic approach based on a person's individual situation that an independent fiduciary such as yourselves are able to offer folks. That's the difference.
Absolutely, Kristen. I think the other thing is, we want to make this easy. You don't want to have to talk to your investment guy or gal and then go find somebody who's knowledgeable about Medicare and talk to them.
Right.
Then you have to go find a good CPA that really understands planning and not just doing taxes. Then you better go find the estate planning attorney that can do the will. And before you know it, you've got a bunch of cooks in the kitchen and everyone's reading off a different recipe.
Exactly.
And the only person that loses in that scenario is the person that's going through retirement.
And who's going to eat that meal?
That's exactly it. And so we've spent a lot of time creating Compass Retirement in our RetireSimply plan to be a place where you can have anything that's going to touch your retirement. You can have a team of folks there to support you and answer the questions. And we tell folks all the time, if we don't know the answer, we darn sure know where to go get it. Okay, so this isn't one of those things where you have to have 4 or 5 different folks all in on it. The other thing I would say too is, unless someone is just very, very knowledgeable about this and loves doing this in retirement, and there are some of those people out there, we've met them, typically it is very overwhelming for the average person in retirement to navigate all of these things, right? Maybe they know their investments real well, but not the tax piece. Maybe they know the tax piece well, but not the Medicare planning, so on and so forth. So what we want to do is guide you, put it in everyday language for you to understand, and really make it easy.
Yep, there are lots of little landmines out there in retirement, and we want to make sure that you don't walk over them. We know of people that have walked over them. We actually know where the landmines are. So if you'd like someone to guide you through that path safely, simply listening to what you really want out of retirement, give us a call. We are here for you. If you're 3 to 5 years out from retiring, those are critical years. Maybe you're already retired. That's the time to make sure you've got this taken care of. And you've saved over $300,000 for your retirement. This is the perfect planning for you. Do yourself a favor. Pick up the phone. There are people, our team, Scott and I, that are just waiting to help guide you through this process to make it as smooth as possible for you.
Angela, Scott, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, we are going to take a quick commercial break, but we encourage you to pick up the phone and call to get your own complimentary RetireSimply plan. Simply dial the number on the bottom of your screen, 844-861-5203. You owe it to yourself to get a second opinion, and the reality is you can't get a second opinion from the person who gave you the first. Allow Scott and Angela and the team at Compass Retirement to be able to sit down and go through your entire financial plan, giving you that comprehensive, holistic planning advice to make sure that you're on track to reach your retirement goals. We're going to dive into some more strategies and things you want to be aware of as you navigate risk for retirement right after this.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, We can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Welcome back to Retire Simply DFW. I'm Kristen Oakley here with Scott and Angela Winstead, co-founders of 𝗺𝗵𝗄 Retirement. We are talking today about navigating the complexities of retirement, specifically market risk and how to navigate that well. I know one of the things that you've mentioned that when folks come in to meet with you, they might think that they're diversified, but then when you sit down and you go through this comprehensive planning process, you realize that they might not be as diversified as they thought that they were. So talk to me a little bit about that, the importance of diversification, and what a lot of folks aren't aware of with their current financial situation.
Sure. Lots of times when we're talking about diversification, people think automatically of how I'm invested. That is one form of being diversified, which is fantastic. Yes, we don't want all of our money in one pot.
Right, not all eggs in one basket, right?
Absolutely not. Yes, absolutely not. So we want to have money in different areas doing different things for us. There's not a silver bullet in retirement. Oftentimes, I will have people walk into the office for the first time. We'll sit down at the conference room. I grab my cup of coffee and I'm like, hey, I am so excited to visit with you today. Tell me what brought you in. And then they'll say this, I just want you to tell me exactly what to do. And I say, hey, I would love to do that. The only problem is there's no silver bullet, right? There's no exact way to do this.
And there's no one size fits all either.
Absolutely not. So that's when we're really digging into, you know, what's important to you? What do you want? One of the things that I talk to people about all of the time, just from a comfort perspective, is how much money do you really need in the bank? That's one of my first questions, because that allows me to see how much risk that they're comfortable having. And then that allows us to figure out where to diversify the money. Everybody has a different feeling about, hey, this much I can have at risk, this much I need to be safe. And a really good question to ask yourself is this: how much money do I need to have in the bank because things pop up and I need immediate access to money? How much do you need in the bank to feel like you can walk down Main Street in whatever town you're at and think, you know what, I can handle this? Sometimes people will need $200,000, and I'm not joking, that's their comfort level. We usually talk through that a little bit. And some people don't want more than $2,000. So what I'm trying to share with you is that is a very unique need that we all have inside of ourselves. One of my favorite questions that Scott asks during that time, if someone just says, I need $120,000 in the bank, and he'll say, oh, do you have a lot of $120,000 problems? Right. So we got to ask ourselves a few of these questions.
Yeah, I mean, most people don't have, you know, a $50,000 problem pop up all the time, right? So it's a balancing act. And I think to Angela's point, which is so well put, is it is custom. And it is important that we hone in on that. I think diversification is another so important point, because a lot of times we think we are diversified, right? And we look at it and we say, hey, I own this basket of mutual funds, let's say, and I own this basket of stocks, and I own this basket of bonds, and wow, I've got 80 things in my account. I have to be diversified. But upon further look, right, kind of like an X-ray looks inside to see what's going on with your bones. When we do an X-ray of someone's portfolio, it's like, well, yeah, you own Amazon stock and Apple stock and Google stock and Microsoft, but you also own 8 mutual funds, and the top holdings are Amazon stock, Apple stock, and Google stock. So they're called something different, but then you wonder why when Amazon stock and Google stock and your whole portfolio goes down. It's because you have a false sense of diversification. And so it's so important that we're building a plan where you're truly diversified. We kind of call it the yin to the yang. You won't, it sounds fancy, it's not fancy, but non-correlated. It just means when something goes up, something else is going down, or vice versa. So you want this nice balancing act so that the ride you're experiencing is a little bit more steady and not like being at Six Flags and going up and down on the Texas Giant, jerking you around up and down all over the place.
Nobody wants that.
That we go with the 11-year-old, and I mean, you know, it's like I used to do those things well, not anymore.
Right.
Not anymore. So those things are so important when we're helping someone assess their risk and really where they need to be.
Well, and as you've mentioned before too, I've heard you talk about all the fees that folks aren't even aware that they're paying. And when you're invested in all these different mutual funds, but it's the same investments across all these mutual funds, and then you complicate it by, you know, all these different fees that you're now paying, no wonder people are losing.
100%. We kind of say it's a leaky bucket, right? You've got this metal water pail, let's say, and in the top of the bucket, the water going in, that's your return, right? That's the growth you're getting.
Yes.
But the bottom of your pail is rusted, and the water that trickles out are those fees and the risk and the taxes. And people then look at it and say, well, wait a minute though. The stock market was up 15% last year, but I treaded water. Well, that's because you had 15% going in, but you had 12% coming out. And before you knew it, your water line stayed flat. So what we try to do is really, really putty up the bottom of that pail so that we slow the trickle down as much as we can so that as the water's going in the top, your water line continues to go up.
Right.
Yeah. Because even in a down market, let's say the water spigot gets turned off, guess what? The bucket is still leaking with all of those different things. So it is critical to make sure that you take care of all of the leaks in retirement.
For sure. Well, if someone's watching today and they're going, gosh, I'm not even aware of what leaks I might have, or how do I even go about assessing this, what would you say to that person?
Oh my gosh, I would say come in, talk to us, let us see what you've got going on. Like Scott was saying, you know, we know how to x-ray your retirement. We know when we're looking at your statements and how you have things structured and set up, we know exactly what that means. And because we only focus on retirement, we can look out at your 20-year older self and think about, oh, what are they going to be experiencing? What is the 90-year-old going to be experiencing? And how can we mitigate that right here and right now? So if you're 3 to 5 years out from retiring, or hey, maybe you've already taken the leap and you're already retired, congratulations, but you need a few things to get shored up. You need your pail to get puttied. Make sure you give us a call. We really want to help you take care of this and make sure that your funds last longer than you do.
Awesome. Angela, Scott, thank you so much. I love that you're able to take the complexity and just make it so simple for folks to understand. That's your heart and that's your passion, and they would love to help and serve you. So we encourage you, call the number on the bottom of your screen to get your very own complimentary RetireSimply plan. Simply dial 844-861-5203, or you're welcome to scan that QR code to get connected as well. We will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. As we like to say here at Compass Retirement, bye-bye.